I'm lucky if any of what I said actually happens. I hope for at least 30 to 50%. And boy, did we predict some stuff. Now, apart from the quite clickbaity title, there is some truth to this. As in early 2022, I made a video about what I would love to see from a new Eminem album, and upon rewatching this video, I had indeed predicted some things that are in the Death of Slim Shady, Eminem's new album. Let's get into it. Firstly, I started this video off with advertising, which he did, but I wanted him to do a quick 1 week announcement instead of what we got. So whilst what I hoped for didn't exactly happen, he did advertise. So I'm giving myself 1 point. Next was stories. I hoped that M would do more story-based songs, as he wrote Stan, and technically he didn't write any story-based songs. The entire album was a story, so I'm going to give myself another point. On that same part, I talked about Eminem's love songs and how he should... I just want him to dead that subject personally, or if anything, do just one track about love and all that. Something he did, so another point. After this, I talk about Eminem, how he could write any story-based song. Even if it was about story is, it could be about a person with Down syndrome with a wooden leg who could be called Greg for all I care, which in itself was a reference to a freestyle he did.
Met a retarded kid named Greg with a wooden leg, snatched it off and beat him over the head with the peg. Go to bed with the...
He mentions that particular freestyle and used similar wording on the song Guilty Conscience too.
I kicked one freestyle by beating down a special needs child, and these people freak out.
I just wanted to point that out. I found that quite intriguing. Next, I talked about features and said he should only have 2 features that are pop. I think if he's gonna have features, it should be rappers or only 2 pop star features, which he did, both being Skylar Grey and Jelly Roll. Now, I did predict Skylar Grey, but that's like predicting Eminem will be swearing on this album. It comes with the territory at this point. Afterwards, I talk about other possible features on the more hip-hop variety, and while 2 out of 3 weren't on the album, one of them was, that being Jid. Now, I mentioned him only because I heard 2 songs, a feature of him on Conway the Machine's Scatterbrain, where I thought he did exceptionally well, and the second was him and J. Cole on Off D's, but I mainly listened to it for J. Cole. This was also before the Forever Story, so he wasn't being talked about that much on rap podcasts and such, so this is quite the prediction on my part. Afterwards is making the suggestion that Eminem should place his Shady label artists too, as it has been quite some time since a Shady Records label artist has been on an Eminem album. Not only would it make sense for Eminem to get his artists who are signed to his record label on his album, not only to boost them and get them more sales, but also they're going to be eating off of this album because, as many people know, Eminem still does phenomenal record sales. Even in this type of climate where people just go on Spotify nowadays, he still gets those viewing figures, he still gets the numbers, and these artists are definitely going to eat because of that. And whilst he didn't put the ones I initially asked him to do, he did put on Easy Nil, the latest Shady label artist, but then on September the 13th, he dropped the Mourners edition, which has a Shady Entourage version of the song Fuel, which coincidentally is the song Jid featured on. So, I'm giving myself another point. Next, I talked about him rapping fast, essentially saying he wasn't doing it as much as people talked about, and I had no interest in him not doing it or doing it. But if he was going to do it, he should go big and go foul. He has to rap faster. You're gonna have to go on Genius to read the lyrics because you're never gonna understand it. And I want him to say some outlandish shit. So the replay value is definitely on there. While this album lacks the fast-paced raps, he does go foul. And lastly is the content. And I just said he should. As long as he is being his genuine self, he is writing and saying what he wants to say, I couldn't give a fuck. Like, if he wants to make dick jokes because he really wants to make those dick jokes, if he wants to take the piss out of certain celebrities because he genuinely wants to, not because he thinks his fans will like it or that, I want him to be his genuine self, which I think we can all agree he gave us plenty of. Mainly foul, but he made some great songs, whether it be Temporary talking to Hailey about moving on after his death, or on Somebody Save Me talking from the perspective of if he never gave up drugs to this day. And those are my predictions from a video I made 2 years ago. Now admittedly there are people on Twitter who actually predicted the somewhat synopsis of this entire album, but I'm just surprised that I myself were able to get quite a few things predicted into an Eminem album. But I think that's quite cool. I think that's something I can slightly celebrate. I know many others may see it as a bit small and inaccomplishable, but you know, from a YouTube video that I slightly put effort into to actually have some quite big predictions, I think that is something I can celebrate. At least I can, not you lot. Anyway, that has been my video. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed, please like and subscribe, but most importantly, thank you and have a nice day.